Whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. I realized that desire alone was not enough. Belief was the engine. Without faith in myself, my ambitions would remain intangible, like smoke slipping through my fingers. I began writing down every goal I had ever whispered in secret: financial independence, mastery of my craft, personal growth, and influence over my community. I wrote with conviction, imagining each goal as already realized. Hill emphasized the importance of definiteness of purpose. Clarity is power. I realized that my scattered ambitions were preventing progress. To succeed, I needed a singular, focused objective, a purpose that would guide my actions like a lighthouse in the fog. After days of reflection, I defined my ultimate goal: to create a life of abundance, not only in wealth but in knowledge, relationships, and influence. With a purpose clearly defined, I could now direct every thought, word, and action toward its attainment. Faith, Hill insisted, is a crucial ingredient, but faith is not a passive wish. It is a state of mind that must be cultivated. I began practicing auto-suggestion, speaking affirmations aloud each morning, visualizing success in vivid detail. The subconscious mind, Hill taught, responds to repetition and emotional intensity. By feeding it images of achievement, I could condition my mind to act in harmony with my goals. The shift was subtle at first. A quiet confidence replaced doubt, and hesitation gave way to decisive action. Hill's next lesson was specialized knowledge. Knowledge alone is not power, applied knowledge is. I began identifying my strengths and weaknesses, immersing myself in learning that aligned with my objectives. Books, mentors, and experiences became my classroom. I realized that success comes not from knowing everything, but from knowing what is necessary and applying it consistently. Hill's emphasis on organized, purposeful learning transformed the way I approached growth. Imagination was another key principle. Hill described two types: synthetic imagination, which recombines existing ideas, and creative imagination, which draws inspiration from intuition. I started experimenting with both. I sketched out business ideas, drafted strategies, and visualized opportunities that didn't yet exist. Imagination, Hill argued, is the workshop where desire is shaped into reality. By exercising my imagination daily, I began to see solutions where others saw obstacles. One of the most transformative lessons was the power of decision. Indecision is a silent killer, leading to procrastination and missed opportunities. Hill observed that successful people make decisions promptly and change them slowly, if at all. I began practicing decisiveness in small matters first, planning my day, choosing tasks, prioritizing relationships. Over time, decision-making became a habit, strengthening confidence and reducing fear. Each decision, even when imperfect, propelled me forward, teaching lessons that no theory could convey. Persistence, Hill taught, is the backbone of achievement. Desire may ignite a spark, but persistence fans it into an unquenchable flame. I committed to consistent effort, recognizing that progress often comes in small, incremental steps rather than sudden breakthroughs. Challenges, setbacks, and failures were inevitable, but I learned to view them as opportunities to refine strategy and strengthen resolve. Hill's principle of persistence reminded me that the human spirit is infinitely adaptable when fueled by purpose. A concept that struck me deeply was the mastermind principle. Hill argued that no individual achieves greatness alone. Alliances with like-minded, ambitious people create a synergistic force. I sought out mentors, peers, and collaborators, forming a circle of accountability, encouragement, and shared insight. The ideas, energy, and support of this group accelerated my growth in ways I could never achieve alone. Hill's lesson was clear. Success is not a solitary pursuit, but a collaborative endeavor. Hill also explored the role of the subconscious mind in shaping destiny. Every thought, belief, and emotion imprints upon the subconscious, influencing behavior, decisions, and outcomes. By consciously controlling my thoughts, feeding my mind with positive, success-oriented images, and eliminating negativity, I could align my subconscious with my goals. It was like planting seeds in fertile soil. The harvest depended on consistent nurturing and care. Fear, Hill warned, is the most destructive obstacle. Fear of poverty, criticism, failure, illness, loss, and even old age can paralyze action. I began identifying fears that had silently controlled my decisions and replacing them with courage, knowledge, and preparation. Each time I acted despite fear, it weakened. Each time I faced uncertainty with faith and persistence, my confidence grew. Hill's insight transformed fear from a limiting force into a catalyst for growth. Hill's teachings also emphasized the habit of saving and financial discipline. Wealth, he observed, is not solely earned. It is accumulated through careful management and investment of resources. I began tracking expenses, creating budgets, and studying investment principles. The lesson was clear. Discipline today enables freedom tomorrow. Small, consistent actions compound into extraordinary results over time. As weeks turned into months, I noticed profound changes. My mindset was sharper, my focus unwavering, and my energy directed toward meaningful goals. Hill's principles were not abstract theories. They were practical, actionable laws of success. Desire, faith, specialized knowledge, imagination, decision, persistence, and the mastermind alliance were forming a framework through which I could navigate life with purpose. But the most powerful realization was the alignment of purpose and service. Hill stressed that true achievement is measured not only by wealth, but by the positive impact we have on others. I began thinking beyond personal gain, identifying ways to create value for my community, colleagues, and clients. Opportunities multiplied when I approached life with a mindset of contribution. The journey was no longer about me alone. It became about creating ripples of influence and inspiration. By the end of the first year, the transformation was undeniable. Goals that once seemed distant were now within reach. Confidence replaced doubt, action replaced hesitation, and clarity replaced confusion. Hill's principles were no longer abstract concepts. They were lived experience, guiding every thought, decision, and action. I had awakened the giant within, but the journey was only beginning. Napoleon Hill's lessons illuminated a path not merely toward success, but toward excellence, fulfillment, and legacy. The second part of this journey, mastery, influence, and leaving a lasting mark, would require the same principles applied at a higher level, blending wisdom, strategy, and unwavering faith in the power of the human mind. The following year felt like entering a new dimension of life. I had applied the core principles of Napoleon Hill, and they were beginning to manifest not just in small victories but in tangible achievements. Yet, the journey toward greatness required going deeper, toward mastery of self, influence over circumstances, and the creation of a lasting legacy. This part of the journey demanded discipline, wisdom, and a mindset that was not satisfied with temporary success. Hill's teaching on self-discipline became the foundation. I realized that controlling thoughts, emotions, and actions was essential to maintaining momentum. Desire fuels the journey, but discipline channels that desire into productive action. I established strict routines, morning meditation to align focus, structured learning to enhance knowledge, and consistent reflection to measure progress. Each day became a building block, each small victory a stepping stone. Self-discipline, I discovered, is like the rudder of a ship. It may be invisible at first, but it determines direction over time. Another profound lesson was the law of attraction applied through emotional vibration. Hill emphasized that thoughts backed by emotion influence reality. Positive emotions attract opportunities, while negativity repels them. I began cultivating gratitude, joy, and enthusiasm in every action. Even in challenges, I looked for lessons and possibilities, turning adversity into opportunity. It was not mere optimism. It was strategic alignment of mind and heart to attract circumstances in harmony with my goals. Hill also stressed the importance of accurate thinking. Success is built not on wishful thinking, but on the ability to analyze situations logically and make informed decisions. I learned to separate facts from opinions, emotions from reason, and assumptions from evidence. Each decision became more precise, reducing risk and increasing efficiency. Hill's principle of accurate thinking reinforced that brilliance is often not in grand ideas, but in clarity and sound judgment applied consistently. The habit of initiative became my next focus. Hill observed that those who act promptly, take responsibility, and embrace opportunity are always ahead. Waiting for the perfect moment is a trap of mediocrity. I began to act decisively, take calculated risks, and seize openings before they passed. Initiative became a daily practice, pitching ideas, reaching out to mentors, experimenting with strategies. Even failures became lessons, not deterrents. Hill's wisdom revealed that action is the bridge between thought and achievement. Hill's principle of enthusiasm struck a deep chord. Enthusiasm is contagious, energizing both the individual and those around them. I noticed that when I approached tasks and interactions with genuine passion, opportunities seemed to multiply. People responded positively, doors opened, and collaboration became easier. Enthusiasm, Hill explained, is not merely a trait, it is a magnet for influence, opportunity, and support. By nurturing it daily, I transformed both my mindset and my external environment. A concept that reshaped my understanding of success was the habit of going the extra mile. Hill taught that those who consistently deliver more than expected attract favor, loyalty, and unexpected rewards. I applied this in every project, every interaction, every endeavor. Small acts of excellence compounded over time, building reputation, trust, and credibility. Success, I learned, is rarely about luck. It is about persistent, value-driven effort. Hill's lesson on pleasing personality and interpersonal influence became critical as I expanded my network. The ability to inspire, motivate, and connect with others is a multiplier of success. I consciously cultivated empathy, active listening, and integrity. Relationships, Hill argued, are the currency of influence. With every authentic connection, opportunities grew and collaboration became more effective. Success was no longer a solitary journey. It was a shared endeavor, where influence and respect opened doors previously unimaginable. Overcoming adversity became a daily exercise. Challenges that once would have discouraged me became opportunities to demonstrate persistence and ingenuity. Hill emphasized that every failure contains the seed of equivalent or greater benefit. I learned to analyze setbacks, extract lessons, and adapt strategies. Each obstacle conquered reinforced confidence and resilience. The fear that once constrained action was replaced by faith in my ability to navigate uncertainty. Hill's words echoed. Every adversity, every failure, every heartbreak carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Hill also explored the power of accurate imagination applied to leadership and vision. As I began building projects and initiatives, I realized that imagination was not merely for personal gain. It could be harnessed to influence, lead, and inspire others. I sketched long-term plans, visualized organizational growth, and anticipated challenges before they arrived. By combining creativity with strategic thinking, I began to see paths where others saw only obstacles. Leadership, Hill taught, is born of vision executed with clarity and persistence. The law of cosmic habit force, as Hill described it, became evident. Consistent thought and action, aligned with purpose and belief, eventually shape destiny. I realized that every habit, every repeated action builds momentum toward the life I envisioned. Positive, purpose-driven habits create compounding results, while negative patterns erode potential. By consciously designing habits, routines, learning, relationships, and contributions, I aligned myself with success at a fundamental level. Financial mastery became another essential area. Hill argued that wealth is not merely income, it is the intelligent use, accumulation, and growth of resources. I began applying principles of investment, diversification, and long-term planning. Wealth, he emphasized, is both a byproduct of value creation and a tool for greater influence. By managing resources wisely, I ensured that financial security would enable, rather than limit, opportunities. Discipline and foresight, became the twin pillars of my financial strategy. Hill also highlighted health and vitality as crucial for sustained achievement. Mental and physical energy are the engines of persistent action. I incorporated regular exercise, healthy nutrition, and mental conditioning into daily life. Each small effort compounded into increased resilience, sharper focus, and sustained productivity. Hill's holistic view reminded me that success is multidimensional. Wealth, influence, and purpose require the foundation of health and energy. As I matured in understanding, Hill's emphasis on giving and service became a central tenet. True achievement, he asserted, is measured not by what you gain, but by the impact you create. I began mentoring others, sharing knowledge, and creating initiatives that improved lives. Contribution amplified my sense of fulfillment and opened doors to opportunities beyond personal ambition. Influence, I realized, grows exponentially when aligned with service. The ripple effect of positive action spreads far beyond individual effort. By the third year, the cumulative effect of these principles was unmistakable. I had achieved milestones that once seemed unattainable: financial independence, personal growth, professional recognition, and meaningful relationships. Yet, Hill's ultimate lesson was clear: the journey never ends. Success is a lifelong pursuit, and mastery requires continuous learning, adaptation, and growth. The final piece of the puzzle was legacy, the impact you leave behind. Hill taught that true greatness is measured by the ability to inspire, uplift, and enable others to achieve. I began documenting lessons, creating programs to empower, and building systems that would endure beyond my lifetime. Legacy is not built in a day. It is cultivated through consistent action, character, and contribution. By living purposefully, I ensured that my influence would persist, creating value long after individual achievements faded. Napoleon Hill's principles had transformed my life from uncertainty to clarity, from hesitation to decisive action, from ordinary ambition to extraordinary achievement. Desire, faith, specialized knowledge, imagination, persistence, initiative, accurate thinking, enthusiasm, collaboration, service, and legacy all became integrated into a coherent framework that guided every thought and action. Looking back, I realized the true power of Hill's teachings. They are not formulas for wealth alone, but for mastery of self and life. Anyone willing to embrace these principles, act decisively, and persist through challenges can achieve remarkable results. Hill's words became living instructions, a map for turning dreams into reality and vision into lasting impact. As I closed my notebook on that quiet evening, the city lights twinkling like stars below, I felt a profound sense of purpose. The journey of transformation was far from over, but the foundation was unshakable. The giant within had not only awakened, it had learned to walk, run, and now to inspire. I knew that life would continue to challenge, test, and push me, but with the principles of Napoleon Hill as my compass, I was ready to navigate anything. Success, I realized, is not a destination. It is a process, a way of thinking, acting, and living. And with faith, persistence, and a commitment to creating value, the possibilities are truly limitless.